What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a modification on my 2015 Ford F350 build that I'm working on. And what we're going to be doing is swapping out the factory front grille with an ABS mesh grille that I plan to do a little paint matching on. Now I purchased this grille on Amazon, it was very inexpensive, and I went ahead and I did a test fit of the new grille on my truck because I wanted to make sure it fit perfectly first. Then I'm going to take the grille back off the truck and put my factory grille back on because I want to do a little paint matching customization to this new grille before I reinstall it back on the truck. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's check it out. Okay, so if you happen to have a grille like this on the front of your F350, now again, I have an F350 XL, so it's pretty much a basic work truck package. So I ripped this one off and I replaced it with this new mesh grille right here. Again, I purchased this off Amazon. Again, it was very inexpensive, but the quality is actually pretty good. So this particular one here has a matte black finish around the exterior here, but it has a gloss finish in terms of the mesh grille insert. It does have the chrome rivets, which just gives it a nice aggressive look, but again, very inexpensive and very easy to install. So if we open up the hood here and take a look, all you have to do to take your factory grille off is you're going to remove 4 bolts. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here. Then you're going to tilt the grille forward just a little bit because there's about 5 pressure clips along the bottom. So all you have to do is kind of reach down and take your finger and just press on the pressure clip and it'll pop out. Once you pop the grille off, this insert right here, this little chunk right here actually comes off of the factory grille, and you'll mount this piece right here onto the new replacement grille. And then typically all you have to do is pull these pull plugs right here. There's 1, 2, 3. There is 1 bolt you'll have to remove, a 4th plug, and I believe a 5th plug over here. So once you remove those 5 plugs and 1 bolt, this whole piece right here pops off of that grille, and then you're going to put it back onto this grille by lining everything up, putting your plugs back in, putting your bolts back in, and then the little metal clips you'll pull off the back of this grille, which are probably clipped down here. The little tiny clips right here, you just got to pull them off, and then you'll put those little metal clips on the bottom of that grille, and then when you put it back up, you're going to slide it into place, push the bottom clips into the little pockets, line up your bolt holes across the top, put your 4 bolts back in, and you are good to go. And everything looks real good. It looks real sharp. And the reason I went with this matte finish over the gloss finish is because I'm going to take this grille off and give it a light sanding, and I'm going to paint match the outer portion here white to match my truck. So when you shut the hood, everything lines up, you have a nice good seal, but as you can see, it looks real good and looks way better than the factory grille over here. So if you happen to have an F350 truck and you're looking to get rid of the factory grille, I highly recommend checking this one out. Okay, so what I'm doing now is basically taking out these rivets here. Now, just so you know, the front rivets are more of just like a chrome plastic, but the bolts are actually real metal. So the bolts from the back side of the actual grille here are just screwing into these fake rivets, holding this front piece on. So what I'm doing is removing all the rivets so I could take out this gloss black mesh insert, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint the outside perimeter white so that it matches my truck, so that you only see this gloss black mesh in the middle. So that's what I'm doing right now. We're going to basically scuff up the exterior here. We're going to spray paint it with some etch primer, and then we're going to try to get it painted. So let me work on that and we'll be back. Okay, so I just took a little sander here with a very fine grit sandpaper. So nothing major, just a real fine sandpaper, sort of like a slow to medium speed. So because I didn't want to burn through anything. I mean, this is pretty much just ABS plastic. So I pretty much scuffed the whole perimeter, including this top piece right here. I mean, you can kind of see some of the debris, but I really wanted to scuff up that finish because it had more of a matte black finish, but I wanted to make sure I got off that top layer of finish. And then basically I'm just going to use some urethane reducer, almost like a paint thinner, just something like this to just put on a rag and just clean that off. And then once I'm ready to prime it, I'm just going to use some of this automotive bonding primer. It's just a basic white bonding primer, so it's more of an etch primer.
it'll really help stick to this surface because it's so smooth. Because again, I'm not looking for a super smooth, perfect finish. This is a DIY job, so I'm not expecting to make it look perfect. I'm trying to do a custom looking grill on a budget, so I don't want to go crazy. But again, lightly sand the outside perimeter and then go ahead and wipe it down with some type of paint thinner, whatever you have, wipe it off, get it clean. And then you probably could just go ahead and prime it with any primer. I'm just using this bonding primer here. And then once that's all dry and I put a couple coats of a nice primer, then I'm gonna go ahead and use something like this, like an Oxford white, which is the exact paint match for my truck. So I'm just gonna go ahead and load this up into my paint gun and then just kind of hit it a couple coats and then maybe hit it with a clear coat, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Again, I'm not going crazy. I just wanna paint the outside perimeter of this ABS grill so that the gloss black mesh in the middle looks a little bit nicer. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to spend a ton of money. I'm just trying to make something look a little nicer than what it did right out of the box. So let me keep working on this and we'll be right back. Okay, so we went ahead and we added about 3 coats of the primer. I think maybe on coat 2, I did a little bit of light sanding just to smooth out any little bumps, maybe just little splats of paint that might have came out. But I sanded that down smooth and put a 3rd coat of the primer. So everything looks real good, okay? So we're good to go with the primer. And I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. So the next thing I'm gonna have to do is come over here and start getting my paint gun prepared and use this high-tech Oxford white paint right here. It's 1 part paint mixed with 1 part urethane. So I'm gonna have to mix those 2 together and then get that put into my paint gun. And then we're gonna have to start spraying a couple coats of paint. So I'm probably gonna do maybe 2 or 3 coats of the Oxford white. And then at the end, I'll top it off with a little bit of this high-tech clear coat here. And then I guess you have to mix it with some of this Glamour activator stuff. I don't really know what that is, but we'll put that in there and we'll do that as our final coat. And I'll just do like a light 1 or 2 coats of the clear coat on that, and then we'll be done. Now over here, I took an old aluminum custom grill that I had on one of my previous builds a long time ago. It was showing its age a little bit, but I sanded it down as best I could. And then I just hit it with some of the bonding primer. And then I might just hit it with a real light 1 or 2 coats of the Oxford white, because I'm thinking about strapping this down onto the front of the mesh grill just temporarily to see how it looks. Again, not sure how it's gonna work, but I figured I would try it and see how it goes. But let me keep working on all this over here and we'll be back here shortly.
Okay, so we got it all done. This is how it turned out. So basically, again, what I did was I did a light sanding to the outside perimeter of this grill, and then I primed it with some white etch primer. So I added a good 2 or 3 coats of the primer, and then I added about 3 more coats of the Oxford white paint, and then I went back in and went over it with another 2 coats of clear coat. So that's what I did to the outer perimeter here. And then I took this Diesel Legiance aluminum plate that I had from a previous custom grill that I had for one of my older trucks, and I took just that piece off, and then I sanded that down lightly, painted it white, and then bolted it to the front of this grill, just using some bolts on the front, and then on the back, some round washers, a lock washer, and then a lock nut, and that'll hold it on. So that's basically how it came out. And overall, I'm pretty happy with how well this grill turned out. Now again, is it perfect? No. There are some little blemishes in the paint. I don't know if you can really see them. I mean, you have to get really down and catch them in the right light, but there's a little bit of blemishes in the paint. But again, this is a budget grill. I didn't want to spend too much time and too much money and too much effort into painting it perfectly. Because to do that, in between some of the coats, you might have to do a light sanding again and then go back in and paint it and then sand it and then paint it. It just becomes a process that I really didn't want to get involved with on a cheap ABS grill. But overall, for the effort that I put into this, this actually turned out really good and I'm pretty happy with it. So the next thing I have to do is go back on the truck, take the factory grill back out, take the top grill insert off of that grill, mount it to this grill, and then we're gonna get this grill mounted on the truck. So let me go start working on that and I'll be right back. Okay, so all you have to do is take this piece out right here from the top of your grill. Again, it's held in by 1 bolt at the top and then I believe 5 push plugs that look just like this. Okay, so once you take out the 1 bolt and the 5 push plugs, that pops right off. And then you're gonna put this piece, this edge here, okay, is gonna go up to the top of that grill, and everything will slide in and line up. So again, all we're doing is moving this piece from this grill to the top of that grill, and then there's little metal clips from the bottom of that grill that look like this. You're gonna move these clips here to the bottom of that grill, and then that grill right there will just pop right into place. So let me start doing that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're all done with the grill. Let's take a look. There you go there. That's what the new budget grill looks like, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now my truck is a little bit dirty, so you're gonna see a little difference between the brand new Oxford white paint here and then the Ford Oxford white that's on my truck that's a little bit dirty. But overall, it turned out pretty good. Looks real good, has a nice shine to it. And that's what it looks like. So again, everything turned out pretty much just how I imagined it to. This is not going to be the highest end custom grill that you can find on the market, because those grills can cost upwards of $1,000, if not more. Now, yeah, you could probably find a grill similar to this with a metal mesh insert in the middle for probably double the cost of this. But for what I paid for this grill here, a little bit of money I have invested in paint, this turned out great and I'm pretty happy with it. So again, overall, the quality looks real good. It's all ABS plastic, so it's not going to rust. But overall, this turned out great, and I am really happy with it. So there you go, everybody. So the ABS budget grill that we picked up turned out fantastic. It just took a little bit of work doing a light sand on the outside perimeter, and then we put a couple coats of primer, we put a few coats of paint, and then a couple extra coats of clear coat at the end. But overall, it turned out great, and I think it looks awesome. So at the end of the day, my overall impressions of this ABS mesh grill for my 2015 Ford F350, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a go. Everything fit perfect, it looks great, it came in at a great value, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. But that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope this video helps some of you out. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and like this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section and we'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And also do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you. I truly appreciate you all. And as always, see you in the next video.